Okay, thanks, Steve, for jumping on a call. I'm here talking about your lovely book that you've just written about how to write. I'm going to read the topic 366 cracking copywriting, marketing, and mindset ideas. So great to talk to you.
Thanks, Deb. Great to be here, and looking forward to sharing a few things to help business owners.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's the main reason why we wanted to talk to everyone today. And that is, as an entrepreneur, someone that's owned their own business for 20 years, it's been such a challenge over the time writing copy, trying to sell products, trying to get out there in the market. And one of the things that's taken me a really long time to learn is that the art of selling really isn't what we all think it is. It's more about a way of broadcasting, speaking, and connecting in a vibrational match to whoever you're talking to. And therefore, when you write, when you speak, when you tell a story, it has to be really thoughtful and elegant, and it has to be crafted in the three-dimensional world where we all live and work. And that's something that's really occurred to me over the time. And after I read your book, it just became so clear to me how important it is to write properly.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, isn't it? There's a lot of talk today about awakening and ascension and all of those things, which, hey, I'm all for. But the reality is we still live in this heavy 3D world, right? Where we've got bills to pay and jobs to do and customers to service, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's quite interesting what you said there about finding people who are a vibrational match. And that's quite a high level concept, right? If my take on that is we have to know stuff about this heavier 3D world and what works in the 3D world for us to sift and sort out who those higher vibrational people are. So using words that are 3D concepts and using them in the right way is really, really vital to that connection, right? Because if we don't use them in the right way, we repel instead of attracting.
That's 100% right. And for someone that's been writing a long time to sell my online courses and spiritual teachings and things like that, I have struggled endlessly trying to find the right match and the vibration out there. And until I started to get some coaching from someone like Greg and obviously reading your book, I was misfiring. And that was really frustrating because I am a very vibrationally connected person. And when I speak face to face, just in the everyday world, I can do that. But when it was writing about my products and services, it was almost like there was this block around how to do that in a way that was getting traction. And now that it's such a relief for that to open up now and to have a conduit to talk properly. And even just some of the stuff in your book, like about when you write an email to someone, how do we captivate people's attention and imagination? And I remember one of your tips was to have a 9-word sentence as your first line of an email opener. And now it's so obvious, but at the time I might have opened up with like 3 exciting paragraphs and I'd lost someone at word 5. It's just interesting how you can use some 3D concepts of elegant copywriting and powerful copywriting to actually, make a difference in selling your business.
Yeah, and I think this is a multi-layered answer, I think, Deb, too, in that people think, oh, I'm not a good writer. I wasn't good at English at school, therefore I'm no good at this. And that's actually not the case. It's a learned skill, whether you're a good writer like me, a so-called good writer like me, or you have struggled with English. If you write the way your market talks in a structure that meets their 3D understanding of going from like interested to really excited about something, then you are a really good chance of connecting them. But in that whole journey, there's a whole lot of little markers, whole lot of small guideposts and signposts that you must hit.
Yes.
In order for that vibrational match to occur, right? And it really is. It's copy is about structure, not so much dialogue. And if you structure it the right way, then you get to meet people where they're at, right? And
that's 100%.
The match.
Yeah, I love that you just said that, because there is a structure that people follow and they can digest the information and read it and take it in and then go deeper. And that's what I had totally not, thought about or over all the years of writing my sales pages or my product pages, I had not thought about that structure. And when you follow it, you don't, as you say, you don't need to be a copywriter. You know, I mean, I like to write, but I'm a good content writer. Wasn't a good sales writer until now. And there is a structure that you follow. But what I think so interesting is we only have words, whether they're written, spoken, or visual, to talk to our audience, no matter what we're telling them, whether we're social posting, whether we're writing a sales letter. We only have that form of human physical interaction to be able to talk or broadcast our message. So if we want to make a bigger impact, or if we want to get our message out there, or we want someone to come to our course, that's all we've got. We don't use telepathy, although I'd love to. We've only got that. I mean, we do have an energetic vibration when you're face to face with someone. You can feel energy. But when they're on a screen and a computer or reading a flyer, that's all you've got. You've got the words, written, spoken, or visual, of how you can talk about what you want people to do with your business. So if you can't tap into the structure and the wording and the elegance of how to properly write, you don't have a sales, you can't be a salesperson. You can't sell.
Yeah, I think too, there's, again, like there's multi-layers to this, right? There is another layer in that the state that you're in, the vibration that you're in, the frequency that you're in when you write.
Oh, that's a good one.
Is really, really important as well, right? If you're tired and down and it feels like such hard work, that does come through in your words. And for me, things like being at a stand-up desk is important because I'm more active, I'm moving, you know, I can walk away and, you know, pick up a crystal or whatever it might be that I have at my desk, you know, to help keep that frequency or that vibration up quite high when I'm writing, because that does come through. But it also must come through in the right structure, you know, and little tidbits like you mentioned there about, I think I said about 5 to 7 words, Deb, if I'm not mistaken about that.
I'll check that.
You know, that first line of an email, right? And you want to start your messages at a point of high emotion as well, right? Because you have to grab people, you know, like the old Tom Cruise or Renee Zellweger film, you know, you had me at hello. You've got to get them at hello, right? And if you don't follow that principle, then generally your sales message falls flat because people are gone. Yeah. It doesn't matter how heartfelt what you do is, how transformational what you do is. If your messaging doesn't do the right things, then, you know, that there is that mismatch there that you spoke about before. And so it's really important that no matter, I guess, what business line of work you're in, what your business does, that you do understand and learn the basics of copy, you know. And I think a big objection to, Deb, is that I'm a heartfelt business owner. I don't want to come across as a grubby salesperson, right? You know, that no one likes that, by the way. No one.
Nobody likes that.
You know,
they do not.
No, but if you're going to have a really big impact in the world, which is what most people want, right? You need to learn how to sell and sell with the words, whether they are written or spoken. And that involves a correct structure. It involves all of the different layers for you to be able to meet people where they're at, so that you can help more and more people. So it's a really important point, right?
That's absolutely. And you know, the trap that I fell into is I tried to outsource my copywriting a few times to, you know, not low cost, but certainly not high paid copywriters, because I couldn't afford it. And so I tried to, you know, outsource to different people and get them to help me, and they were all like not working, and I couldn't figure out why. And then later on, I realized they were writing like I was writing, because I'm actually an okay copywriter. I've written a book. I can write, but I wasn't writing with the correct information on hand. And unless you can afford a $20,000 copywriter for a big project that you have, which most of us can't. I mean, I earn a good amount of money in my business, but I can't afford that. Unless you can afford that, you absolutely have to take some responsibility and learn the art of it yourself, enough to, at least if someone is writing for you, guide them and tell them here's what to stick to. Like, you know, go and read Steve's book and then you can write for me. Or at least give them the guidance of how good copy is written. Because if you outsource it, unless you're outsourcing it to a gun sales copywriter that really understand what your book says and what we know, you're actually not just wasting money, and I'm not bagging any copywriters out there, but you're not going to the full impact your message could have. And as you just said, if we want to make an impact, if we are evolved humans and we're agents of change, we do want our message out there. We do want to transact and sell our incredible products. And so unfortunately, I learned that you have to learn it yourself and you have to get good at it. Otherwise, you're losing a massive, there's a big revenue leak in your business in my mind.
Yeah, totally. And there's a couple of things here too, Deb. Like you don't, I guess, to learn it, you don't have to be world class. You've just got to be better than most other people, right. And because you don't know about copywriting stuff until you learn from someone, a lot of people, or most people, don't know, because, and it's not a comment about level of skill or anything. They just haven't been taught the correct structure, those little things that we've mentioned already, and because you don't know until you find out from someone. So most people don't know, and so the more you can learn, and I guess the other thing too is, it's like any journey. You learn bits and then you plateau, and then you learn a bit more and then you plateau, and again, 3D world stuff, that's how we learn in this place. And the other thing too important is managing your emotions when you're learning it, because not everything works in this marketing world, in in marketing. Even the best writers have flops. That's the way it is. If anyone says, "Oh, sure, I can do that from you, 100% guaranteed," don't walk away, run, because it can be fickle, right?
It can be fickle, and you have to learn and evolve. And I kept getting told, try, test, measure, change, try again. You have to keep evolving with, even if it's one product. Sometimes your product's a winner, but you have to keep evolving with the way that you talk about it or sell it. And that's something I've been learning as well. You're totally right. Like, you think you've got a winner, and then you watch the interaction, and you can pretty much find out within 2 weeks whether something's actually working, when people are interested or excited. And not being afraid to change it, and not feeling like a failure to change it, because you do. And you were just saying before, you weren't taught how to write. No. I honestly have felt like I've been a bit of a failure selling my online courses up until about 6 months ago. And I thought, oh, wow, my courses aren't good enough, or people just aren't interested in them. And I realized I was just absolutely miswriting how I was talking about them, if that's a word, miswriting. I would literally, that'll do. You can put that in one of your ideas, next. No, I was actually, not getting the formula right. And that was affecting my entire business structure with trying to educate.
That failure thing is a big one, right? Because it can impact on how you feel about yourself and what you do. And that's really discouraging. And, I think to give that whole discussion some context, think about this: with all the money that they have, all the resources they have, how many ads from Coca-Cola have you seen in your life, for example? Right? Many, right? Why? Because not everything works, or things might work at first and then they become fatigued. And then a new idea will come along, or something will change, and you have to do it all again. So if it was one and done, there'd be one Coca-Cola ad, one Apple ad.
That's exactly right.
And we can lose perspective, right? We think, that one thing I did, it didn't work. Oh no, whereas Coca-Cola have pumped out 20 ads in that time, because they understand that you do have to
tweak.
You do. You have to, like you said, test and measure, tweak, change.
It's very empowering when you realize the formula. Now that I've started to understand the formula, and I'm realizing what works, it's actually very empowering, because especially if you don't like writing copy. I mean, I've always enjoyed the coaching content side of it, so it wasn't a big shift for me. But even if you don't enjoy it, you start to realize the power that comes when you know how to write and how to structure something. And you start to feel like every time you write about a project or a product, there's this kind of self-confidence that grows and builds as you write, and you realize that it is just a formula. And if you can start cracking into it, and as you say, then if you're are able to get a higher power or a download or get your energy right, or if you are an agent of change or someone that's quite spiritually minded, then that gives you another whole energy to draw from. But I have seen people that have not got a spiritual bone in their body who aren't connected and plugged in, write great copy and sell a lot of products. So whether you have or you haven't, it really does, the formula works.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point, isn't it? Because we can, I guess, get caught up in, because it's also an isolating thing, right? Often writing as an occupation, or even as you in your business, even if you're surrounded by a lot of people, it is a very isolating thing, because you have to be. It's a focused kind of thing, right? And when you don't have a point of reference, if things aren't going well, it can affect your confidence. So one of the things I do when I teach people about copy is to end the isolation and find ways to boost your confidence. That's really important, because it can be that, oh, I've done this one thing and then I tried that and then I read about this and I should do that and it hasn't worked. And then that can become a bit of a downward spiral for everyone. Yeah. And so the time that you spend on yourself in it, and again, you don't have to be a good writer. Like you said, I was really good at English at school. I did some English study at university. Then I became a teacher and a teacher of English. But none of that, I guess, apart from a little bit of being able to put, some grammatical stuff. I was a freelance journalist for a number of years. Apart from that, none of that had any impact on my ability to write sales copy. Yeah, and because it was a whole lot of stuff of, okay, now I see it. Because this is the thing, right? When we're in school, when we're in university, when we're taught to write to get a good mark.
Yes, we are.
We're taught that formula. We're not taught the formula to sell. So that formula of write to get a good mark, you can chuck out most of that.
Oh, 100%.
When it comes to sales
and I'm the perfect example of that, because I studied philosophy at university and I blitzed my essays. I wrote essays on Sartre and all these fancy philosophers, and I was like getting really high marks. And when it comes to copywriting for selling, I was flunking until 6 months ago. But no, that's such a good point. They are very different. And I guess it comes back to if you are running your own business and you are selling a product, which is all of us that run a small business. If you're an entrepreneur, an agent of change, someone that sells anything, then if you don't have, I would almost consider this a foundational, well, it's a foundational skill, just like managing your finances, managing your time. There's a few key ones. I now have put writing, ability to write and articulate what I do properly is now one of my foundational skills.
Wow, yeah.
And if I don't have that, then I can't sell online. I can sell face to face. I can be, at a networking event or meet a client or someone, and that, they like me and we connect and we have a good relationship. That's I've been doing that successfully for a long time. But to actually write about a product or service that I have online, and to be able to get people's attention and to talk properly in their language in a way that they understand and I digest, I was not able to do that until I got some support around how to write copy.
Yeah.
And just a key in your book, because for anyone that hasn't read this, because there's like one lesson per page, I was flicking randomly and then I went, no, I have to go in order, I might miss one. You literally can digest one at a time. Like it's a little half pager and it just tells you do this when you write an email, and then that's changed the whole way I write emails now. So I think that the way I love about this book layout is that it really does give you these little snippets just to apply, rather than trying to vomit on an all-you-can-eat book that you have to read from cover to cover and you can't digest it properly. I like that format works for me, and I think it works for our attention span these days in the modern world of just the micro wisdom or something like that. I'm not sure. That's how I see it as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, Deb. I haven't had anyone, and maybe it's just out of politeness, I don't know, but I haven't had anyone say I hate the format of this book.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone says, oh wow, I love that, because here's the thing, and I love words, I love reading, I love writing, but even I find business books quite heavy. So, and they have to be read sequentially all the way through for the most part. I mean, sure, you can flick and just digest little bits, but for the most part, there is a sequential thing for them. Business, marketing books, concepts build on the other, etc. That can be hard work sometimes. And like you said, we're really busy these days. So, I don't often have a lot of time to sit down. I always have 6 or 7 books on the go, but I've probably got about 10 now because of it, I'm in a really busy phase, right? And that's the good part about, like you said, and people have said to me about the influential marketer, is they can just pick it up either for some inspiration or for some learning, or for some new ideas, and in a few minutes or even less, digest what it is, and then I guess connect it to what they're doing, and then go and change something, like the start of an email, like the structure of what they're writing, for instance. It's important that those digestible chunks are easily to digest in this day and age.
And they're easy to apply. Yeah. And you might just make 2 or 3 changes in a month, and then you've got a whole new way of working. And that's what I really love about it too. So, I think, Steve, you run sort of short courses off the back sometimes too, don't you? Like little think tanks or copywriting kind of segments. Is that what you do as well?
I do. I run the Influential Marketer Success Lab. So obviously the book, The Influential Marketer, there is I guess an online component of that, if you like. It's a 13-week online support program where once a week we just meet in a small group, 7 or 8 people. We meet for about an hour, and it's a live Q&A thing. So would it be almost like this, Deb, a quite informal chat where, okay, folks, how's your week been? Okay, really good. What are your challenges this week? And someone might say, oh, look, I tried this headline, and okay, well, let's bring it up and have a look at it. All right, so you might want to change those first 2 words and then move that bit down. And then, okay, thanks, go away and try that. And then someone will go, I've got a bit of a blockage in terms of my emails. They're not being opened. All right, let's have a look at your last 5 subject lines.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So you kind of do a little critique on the fly. That's great.
And then it might be, okay, let's get out, let's turn to page 141, for instance. All right, what it says is, let's unpack that a bit more for your business and what that means for the different businesses in within that within the group. So it's some direct teaching, it's support, and this is the thing too. What a lot of people say when they join that is they actually start to have more confidence in themselves because they've got an answer. It's not that isolation, right? Is this going to work? Is this not going to work? I don't know. And this is a really good thing for dealing with customers or prospects as well. Confused people do nothing. And so if you're confused within yourself, I don't know if this is going to work, it's easy to just get caught in a static where you do nothing, right?
Oh, that is such a great way of describing it. I feel exactly the same when I'm trying to train my horse and he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. You get this kind of confused spot of, oh, what do I try next? And then you end up doing nothing, and then the problem doesn't resolve.
Yeah, you go and pull some weeds out or something, right?
Yeah. You're like, oh, okay, well, I've trained him 10 times to go on the float, but he didn't this time. I don't know what to do now. Or that's such a good point. So your groups then, I guess, that they give a weekly pace for people to get on and that's great.
Just what questions you got, guys? Throw your questions at me. I'll answer them. We'll unpack it. And the interesting thing too, Deb, I mean, because we're all connected, right? Human beings, we're all connected. We all have very similar problems and challenges and fears and frustrations and all of those things. And when one person brings up a particular thing about their copy or their business or what's going through their mind at the moment, that opens up the opportunity for other people in the group because of the connection. Okay, how can I apply that to my business or my situation? What is it learning for me? And then often one person asking a question opens the floodgates.
Everyone learns. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Small group only at 7 or 8 businesses, so everyone gets fair go. So
that's epic. That's epic. Yeah, wonderful. I don't know. I think that's all the questions I have at the moment. Okay. But I really if you haven't got a copy of this, like for any small business owner, I'm serious. This is just probably one of my favorite books right now.
Oh, thank you.
And I really appreciate, like, it would have taken a lot to get all those micro wisdom bites into something that's quite short and succinct as well. Like, because you can babble on with copy, as I know myself. Yeah, I've just really appreciated the way that it's structured, and how every little page is an emotional support. So
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
thank you so
wonderful.
much. It's so
Yeah.
great to get a copy of that.
Yeah, and if anyone listening to this wants their copy, go to theinfluentialmarketer.org, theinfluentialmarketer.org. So that's
I was going to say.
yeah. So it's a
Yeah,
.org, and you can order it there. Would love to sign it for you. Be honoured to have you on my readers list. So
yeah, beautiful.
yeah.
Thanks for today, Steve.
Thanks, Dad. It's been great.
All right. Well, you can stop the recording anytime you need to.